Debbie Does Dallas.
Debbie does. One day that will be on here. But Captain Ron here.
Welcome to America's Hottest Talk Line. Guys, hot ladies are waiting to talk to you.
Vinegar Syndrome! Guys!
It's on Netflix if you want to watch it.
There's a new one, and that's Air Force One.
Get off my plane. I think Sony pays you a bunch of money to talk about all their steelbooks tonight.
The screen movies for the stuff, but you know,
are we seriously gonna have to talk about the screen movies again?
If you only see one movie this year, it should be Frankenhooker, Bill Murray, Ghostbusters, Caddyshack, Zombieland.
This is a movie I didn't think I'd like as much as I did, and I know it was like really popular because it like won some Oscars and whatever, but
Debbie Does Dallas.
For actually showing something is they actually produced crew jackets. Like the movie never went into production, but it's got a Delta Force 2 motion.
Hey, that works either way.
That's cool.
Is anyone even there still? I don't even know.
Yeah, we're just listening to it.
Okay.
I was like, no one's saying it. Like,
really
is it a story?
Bye, runner.
You too, buddy.
And he's out just like that. Mike dropped it, and he's gone. Hello, fellow followers, and welcome back to the Physical Media Show here on FanZcene Vids. The new year awaits because this is the last Physical Media Show of 2023, believe it or not. And I think it's pretty fitting that the last episode of 2023 is our 123rd episode. So how about that, guys? Whoa. I can't believe I've done 123 of these, man. That is insane. Wow. I got a lot of content to call through.
It's like, and you're still only like a quarter of the way, if not less, through most movies. So, it's just...
Yes. But with me tonight, as always, is the new runner, Rookie, and Tom from Midnight's Edge After Dark, and all the good stuff. So, how you doing tonight, Rook?
It could be better. Feeling a little sick. I took a Mucinex, which will definitely make me be hawking out some stuff. So I'll probably just do one pick tonight and head on out. I sound funky because I'm on my phone this time. So, yeah, but I got a couple movies for Christmas. I got Blazing Saddles, RoboCop 2, and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Nice.
So,
some good picks. Some good
I'll be
ones.
watching those soon. I know, right? Well, I asked for them. So my sister was like, what do you want? I'm like, movies. Like, do anything but movies? No.
I've got get used to that because I've asked that since I was a kid. What do you want for Christmas? Movies. This, and everybody's
I learned not to do that because I have had the similar experience. This was one of the greatest Onion articles I ever read. If I could find it again, I'd love to find it. It was set up like a story, and this guy's talking about all he wanted for Christmas was the Two Towers on DVD. So he opens it up. He's at the family Christmas party, and of course, Grandma got it for him. It's Two Towers on DVD.
Oh, then somebody else gets them, huh?
Thanks, Grandma, for it. Turns and looks at it real quick and notices it's the full screen edition. No big deal. Just take it to Walmart and exchange it for the widescreen edition after the party. No problem. That is until his cousin goes, I haven't seen that yet. I'd love to watch it right now. So the rest of the story goes on about how he's stuck forever with the full screen edition of Two Towers. He didn't fucking open it. It's a great article.
Yeah, I remember that one.
And that is why you don't ask for movies, because you never get what you want anymore. Back in the VHS days, it was a little easier, right? Yeah. You could go to your grandma and be like, I want Ninja Turtles 2. And then you tell your other grandma, I want, Home Alone or whatever the hell came out that year. I think those two came out about the same time. But anyway, I was like, whatever. Yeah. So you get yourself set up, right? But yeah, nowadays it's a little harder. Well, a little easier now if you say 4K or Blu-ray. But
well, I've conditioned.
Widescreen days was
Oh yeah. I hated like you get like full screen DVD or widescreen DVD. Just make it one. I'm glad they finally got rid of all that, because I understood, some people still had the regular old TVs, they didn't have it, but still widescreen. But I've conditioned my
Movie
family.
Gallery and Blockbuster for that one.
Yep. I've conditioned all my family members to know, like, okay, when I say Blu-ray, this is what I mean. When I say 4K, this is what I mean.
Right.
So I don't get, I tend to get everything pretty good. But let's say hi to the chat. We have with us tonight Random Brad, a creator, sending us good vibes. Good to have you here as well. And this is, I do have super chat here I saw here earlier that I wanted to get to real quick before we get to everybody else. It says from Juan Carlos Gonzalez Jr. for $9.99. Thank you so very much, Juan Carlos. Happy holidays, Physical Media and FanZcene. I have a newborn, so I haven't been able to tune in over the previous months, but your show and Tom's are my usual go-to for 4K news. Hope you're all as well. I truly appreciate that, Juan Carlos. I am so glad that we can, provide you with news and entertainment. And congratulations on your newborn. Don't worry about that, man. I mean, I leave the replays up. You can come back and catch us live when you're ready. I mean, family is always important. So congratulations to you and yours. And I hope you had a happy holiday, Merry Christmas, whatever you celebrate. And thank you so very much for the $9.99 super chat. I truly appreciate that. Since we're, getting the night right out the bat, we'll go with the Up All Night.
Next on USA, up, all night.
All right. But thank you, Juan Carlos. I truly appreciate that. Then we have Heather Preston. Hi, Heather Preston. We have Deleted Scene Stevens. Salute to you. And then we have Real Sean Crumble says Happy Wednesday. Well, happy Wednesday to you. We have Style Sexton saying let's go Physical Media crew. Yes, let's go. We have Ace Hanlon. Hola, Ace Hanlon. How you doing? Anthony Draven. Hail to you. Glad to have you here. Good evening, Tyrell72. Always happy to have you here. Live long and prosper, as Spock would say. And then we have RJ Godzilla81. I have arrived. Now the show can begin. yes, it can. I like that. I know 1, 2, 3 go. Also, I just now thought of that. Like we're going from 2023 to 2024, and our last show is 123. So that's amazing to me. Then we have Don Ranger Power says, FanZcene Vids, hello, Greg, Rook, and all. Hope everyone's Christmas holiday weekend was merry and bright. Hello again, Tom. Yes, I had a pretty good Christmas, so I appreciate it. And then we have, let's see, who else do we have? Inverse Opinion saying, hey all, how you doing? And I think I caught up with that with everybody in the chat. So I hope you all out there had a
chat you got in there.
Oh, did I miss one? Oh, I got another super. Oh, yeah, it just came in. I missed that. Well, thank you, Doug, 1985, Virginia Last Warrior, for $4.99. Says Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Your Rook, your taste in movies give me diarrhea.
Okay, well, I guess that applies to all the movies I like that are good.
Thank you, Doug, for the $4.99.
I think it's just specific to Gremlins, honestly, but
Oh, I had to stand my ground for Gremlins this weekend on Flashcast. That was hilarious.
Nice.
I was getting
had a warm up with me.
They all were trying to put it in the trash, and I'm like, you fuckers.
Oh boy, Gremlins is an awesome movie. Why would I can't believe it. Did we lose Tom? Did you mute it or something?
I'm here.
Oh, I thought you could cut off for a minute. It's just like, what?
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know I did.
No, but thank you, Doug, for that super chat. And just for that, I'll give you this.
Don't do this, man. Please don't go this way.
I just had sex. I'm about to eat nachos. It's the greatest moment of my life.
That's a good cut.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. But yeah, like it's like the weird, like okay. But thank you, Doug, and thank you, Juan Carlos. I appreciate you guys. Super chats right off the bat. I appreciate that. Thank you, guys. As for upcoming new releases, I do not think there's many at all.
The biggest controversy this week was that the UK release of The Abyss.
The Abyss, yes,
was canceled because of a scene that Lightstorm would not let Disney edit out of the film. Because I would assume if they would have done this, it probably would have been across the board.
Yeah,
I don't think they would have done. Yeah, I don't think they would have done a specific one just for the UK. They're not that. They don't do that kind of shit no more. So my guess is that since Lightstorm was like, no, you're not touching our fucking movie, meaning Cameron. And it's over a scene where they force a rat to breathe underwater, I guess. So yeah, that's what it all has to do with. But other than that, there wasn't a whole lot of new announcements. Leviathan, I think, got a date of February 20th, which is one we've talked about before, but it's finally got a date. Criterion announced some very old films, for the most part, not many that I'm familiar with, but just for those who may be. All That Money Can Buy from 1941, To Die For from I know that one, from 1995.
Yeah.
Was never a big fan of it though. The Runner from 84, that one I don't know. Saint Omar from 2022, and All the Beauty and Bloodshed from 2022. So 2 newer films mixed in with some older films there. Another film I'm not familiar with, but from 1980 called Stir is coming from Severin on March 26th in 4K. The Cruel Sea is also coming from Kino Lorber. That's the 1953 film. Early next year. No date yet. Dark Knight of the Scarecrow Run and 2 are coming to Blu-ray from VCI. Fear and Desire are coming from Kino Lorber. That'd be one of Stanley Kubrick's for films in 4K. Dream Scenario is coming to Blu-ray on February 12th, it looks like. EIV video. So there you go. And that looks like it might be a UK release, so that's not necessarily what it's going to be in the US. And that's the Nicolas Cage movie.
Right.
Other than that, not anything that I'm really that familiar with or that I think is a big deal for us. Mean Guns with Christopher Lambert and Ice-T is coming from MVD on Blu-ray. And Coffin, Inside the Mind of Coffin Joe is coming to Blu-ray on January 16th from Arrow. That's probably the biggest ones that I can think of offhand. Other than that, the Gunfight at the OK Corral got a date of February 27th. That's what we've discussed before.
Yes.
Was there anything else I missed that you can think of otherwise?
Nothing new other than it looks like we're going to get some more Vestron steelbooks exclusively at Walmart.
Yeah. I noticed
Kickboxer, Kickboxer, Little Monster
Blu-ray too. Just keep in mind that's not
just Blu-ray. They're just Blu-ray. So if you're looking for
Little Monsters, kind of pisses me off. I really don't want to buy it again just for the steelbook.
I know, and I got to be honest. I watched that. I have had the Vestron title for a while, and I finally watched it. I think brought it on over October. It's not a great scan. It's kind of dark and muddy.
I've not watched it either. Yeah, and Creepshow is also getting a steelbook. A couple of older Shout Factory 4Ks are coming to Walmart and steelbooks too.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's one of them. So I wouldn't be surprised if they start ramping that up.
Yeah, it looks like Walmart.
Shivers was the other one. Yeah.
Yeah, Shivers. Yeah. All right, we got another super chat, and then we'll get into Rook and get into the things. We have a $5 super chat from Nell White, which I hope I said it right. Nell or Nell White. Monster Squad just showed up. Thanks for the heads up. Glad to have it. Look, there you go. Check out Tom right there. Monster Squad. We'll have to get and lean back and lean forth. Lean back and lean forth. We're going to have to get Andre Gower back on again if he ever gets his deal worked out with Kino. But thank you so very much for the $5 super chat, Nell White, and enjoy your Monster Squad because the Wolfman has got nards and I love Swamp Thing Returns. That movie is awesome. But with that being said, Rook, since you're thinking you're going to have to go early, let's get you started here. What's your first pick of the night?
All right. Rewatched Troy. Black Angus Reviews had a digital copy of the director's cut, so I watched that for the first time. Honestly, I don't think the director's cut adds anything of value at all to it. I don't know if you guys have seen. I'm sure you guys have seen Troy. I mean, it seems like one of the ones that most people see, like Gladiator and stuff. But
never seen Troy.
What about you, Tom? He's getting things going, or probably handling the dogs or something. But no, like, so there's some extra scenes in the movie, or like there's like dogs that like just sniff or look at dead bodies, and There's like a scene where Odysseus, played by Sean Bean, gets like approached by people, and it's just like kind of like, well, like it had nothing was really added. I mean, I guess there's a scene where when they're sacking Troy, like where they're tossing babies into the fire and like over the building or something that isn't in the normal cut. I guess that's adding something, but it's barely anything. The more that I learn about stuff and, like knowing the story of Troy a little bit better now, it's kind of a disappointing movie in a way. Like, why would they think to make this one movie? Like the story of Troy involves the gods. It involves like 10 years of stuff. Like, there's a lot of like material that they put into one movie, and there's like, it happens in like a few days pretty much. It's still a fun movie. Like, it's a fun type of movie. Like, there's a lot of cool stuff in it for sure, but I feel lesser on it nowadays, having just rewatched it. I'm curious what people in the chat think, because this is like one of those kind of, as far as I remember, like a beloved movie, but I feel like its quality just kind of lessened the more you know about it. And like the way they do their fighting formations doesn't really make sense to, I'd say, Greek and Sparta and stuff. And they almost do like a Game of Thrones thing where the Trojans have like a whole bunch of their soldiers outside of their walls to attack the oppressing soldiers that are trying to siege. Just kind of like, you just stay in your castle and like fire arrows. Like what are you doing? They didn't seem to bring any battering rams to take down the walls or anything. I don't know. It just seems a lot worse on this rewatch here.
Well,
yeah, I don't know. I don't have that much more to say about it, I guess. So
it was Troy.
Was that?
Which one?
Troy.
Oh, it's Troy.
Yeah, but I know what you're getting at because I was going to share that once he was done.
I thought it was Alexander. He said, "Okay, never mind." I haven't seen.
No, I'm talking about Troy.
Yeah, they're all the same.
Not a fan.
No, I didn't give a shit when it came out.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, just I don't know. Like, to me, it was one of those ones where when I saw it, it was like, yeah, Troy, fuck yeah, woo. And then I just watch it now and I know more about the history and the mythology. And it's like they made it into they gutted everything to make it into this, and they tried to insert like a more I guess you'd call it like a Christian atheist type of mindset with Greek gods. It's just kind of like, what, I don't know, like, like where he doesn't really believe in the gods. He like sacks the temple of Apollo, and like in the other story, like they're supposed to get the plague from that in response, and like there's a lot of other elements to it that's just not there in this. So I don't know.
I don't know. I can't say I've seen it.
Okay.
I'm just pointless. I thought he was talking about Alexander.
I know, but I still wanted to share this because I love Friedkin. And I love what it says here. It says from William Friedkin from Exorcist. He says, we don't know how long these DVDs or Blu-rays will last. Movie West says, according to Oliver Stone, they're only supposed to last 10 years. And I love Freaking. He says, how the fuck does he know? And he says, I don't know, but I think it's pretty funny. Seriously, 10 years is what he said. And he says, he is full of shit. Has anyone been able to prove that yet? Where's the proof? I have DVDs that are 10 years old now. I have DVDs from 1999 or 98. They still work just fine. How does he know how long they last? And because we thought Tom thought it was Alexander. He says, I think at the time he said that he didn't want people to buy Alexander on DVD. And Freaking says, fuck him and Alexander. I know that doesn't go with Troy, but I loved Friedkin and I thought that was hilarious.
I gotcha.
Yeah. Random Bradbury, from memory, Troy Fall of His City is a better story. So yeah. Yeah, I can't tell you what's wrong with Alexander because that's another one I never watched. I saw the trailer and stuff and I was like, nah, I'm good.
Oliver Stone is the one who did that one, and he had like multiple cuts of it too. That's what, right?
Yeah.
I gotcha. But yeah, definitely. If anything, just if anybody likes Troy, that's cool. But if they ever tell you, "Oh, you should watch the director's cut," though, just don't. It doesn't add enough to warrant it. Like I said, they literally add like shots of dogs just kind of walking around a battlefield, sort of bodies, and it adds nothing. It's like, okay, what is it? How does this come into anything? Oh, nothing. Literally nothing.
Like from one of the early 2000s DVDs, right? Because it's like when they would do that a lot with like, here's a DVD and then here's a director's cut, which is like 4 minutes longer, really.
Yeah,
So.
and I was kind of like, I could have just wasted less time by watching the normal cut, which, like again, Troy is. I'd say it's a fun movie, but like if you know anything about the stuff, it just seems to decrease in value.
This is honestly right here. This is the only scene I've saw on Alexander because I looked it up just to see that. So, and they're nice. Better than anything Ahsoka's got.
Yeah.
But no, I wish I could talk about it. This is one I never really got to. I do like sword and sandal like movies. I like history. Honestly, I like the movie The Odyssey with Armand Assante, which was a TV movie, which I've been wanting to pick up actually on Blu-ray because I know that's on Blu-ray now. I like those type of movies. It's just like those early 2000 ones like that. I couldn't find myself getting into those. Like Troy and Alexander stuff like that came out. I don't know what it was. It just I just couldn't get into them.
I gotcha. Well, I guess like I'm on a Lord of the Rings type of feeling kick, and so I'm trying to find similar things and failing. It's just like nothing. It's too high a bar.
You're never going to find anything that top Lord of the Rings in that genre. It's just plain and simple.
Yeah,
it's just the way it works. But. Yeah, if you have any final words, let us know. If you want to stick around a little longer, let us know because I wish we could conversate a little more. I've never.
Yeah, seen... I'll still stick around for a little bit. I'll probably dip out once I feel like I might start throwing up, so you don't hear me on screen. So.
Yeah. Well, I hope it's not the coof.
No, I'm getting a little sick, but I took a Mucinex, which whenever I take one seems to, it's supposed to flush you out. Oh, it flushes me the fuck out, and I start puking and stuff. Well, that's usually what
they tell you to take for that. That's why I brought that up, yeah.
Yeah. I don't think I have the coof. I think I'd probably have more worse symptoms at this point, but yeah, I've got like some of the symptoms already for being sick, so I'm just trying to kick it off so that it gets here now instead of like dragging on.
Yeah, but you might have the Alpha Velociraptor version.
Oh, that sounds pretty cool. That's cool with me. All right. I have the Alpha Velociraptor COVID, so my sickness is better than yours.
All right. Well, let's move it on to Tom. What do you got for us for your first pick of the night, Tom?
I don't have to waste too much time on this because I did watch this one last year, if you remember, and we talked about it. Mm-hmm. Well, this year, Studio Canal put out a 4K edition in the UK. I'm sure it'll eventually hit stateside here by Lionsgate, or I think that's who put it. Yeah, that's who put this one out too. But yeah, this is actually a really good restoration of the film from the negative. As I brought up before, it's produced by the Salkinds. So basically, they were sitting around going, Superman 3 and Supergirl didn't do too well, or they weren't received very well, especially Supergirl, which flopped. Yeah. But we know how to do all this fancy stuff now. What's another character that we could use all those special effects with that it kind of applies to? Oh, yeah, Santa Claus. Let's do that. And the movie, for the most part, is good. It's the last half is when it kind of goes off the rails when it gets to the modern day. I think they would have been better off just sticking to this idea that you're telling the story of the history of Santa Claus and where all the traditions came from. Because that's where the movie actually shines, of course, is in the earlier parts where you get all that kind of stuff where you come up with the naughty list and the good list and all that kind of stuff and whatnot. And I think that would have been where the movie would have been better. I mean, I love John Lithgow and I love the actors and stuff that are in the modern stuff. But the problem with it is it meanders too much in the Dudley Moore part of the story with him and the bad guy. And it gets a little too cartoony. And it's almost like you're shoving this in here because you have to have an antagonist for some reason when you shouldn't. Like this whole idea of how we got all these traditions, I think would have been a better story to go through and stick with that. But overall, it's a really good scan.
That's nice to hear. Yeah. I thought of it, but that's like, I get what you're saying because like it's called Santa Claus the movie. When I was a kid, I mean, I love the movie. Don't get me wrong, I love the movie. But when I was a kid, I was like, "Where's Santa Claus?" Because it does when it gets to a certain point with the two little kids and Dudley Moore and John Lithgow. Santa Claus disappears for a big chunk of the movie, and it becomes the Dudley Moore, John Lithgow, two little kid movie. And you're like, it's Santa Claus the movie, right? But it is a good movie, and I'm glad that the 4K scan is great because I did watch that last year as well. I did not watch it this year though, so it's glad to hear about it. But I agree with you on that. So
yeah, I don't think there's any new special features. It looks like just all the same stuff. Well, maybe not. Maybe there's something new here. It looks like Interview with Mrs. Claus. That wasn't on the other one, I don't think. So you get an interview with actress Judy Cornwell. Other than that, it looks like the rest is the same. So there you go.
Nice. Well,
and an improvement on the picture as well. So yeah,
that's good. I mean, it is a really good movie. If you've never seen it, I do recommend it for the Christmas season. If you've never seen it, but Brian Barth dropped in some tidbits on this. It said, "Did you know John Carpenter was the first choice to direct Santa Claus the movie?" I did not know that. And he says also the Salkinds turned him down because he wanted creative control and wanted Brian Dennehy as Santa Claus, and that Johnny Carson was considered for Beezy and James Cagney for the Ancient Elf. Maybe the Carpenter version would have been interesting. I would have went for that, but yeah, that I didn't know any of that at all. I didn't know. But yes, that is a good movie. So, anything else? I mean, I don't know if you want to get.
No, like I said, talked about it last year. I kind of got to the basics of it.
Okay.
I recommend it. Chances are probably Lionsgate will release it next year. Is my bet.
That's what I figured. I was going to get it, but I thought,
or they might wait 2 years because that'll be the anniversary. Because this Blu-ray is not that old. Like
yeah,
when I got this last year, it was like a year old or whatever at that time.
Yeah.
So
it's like,
but I think it's a completely different scan. So
that's cool.
From what it looked like, I'd have to double check again, but I think because I watched this like just after our last show.
Yeah, so I said I could have brought on a bunch of more Christmas movies too, but I brought all those on last year.
Yeah, I watched A Wonderful Life and a couple other ones that we'd already talked about. So, yeah,
the good old classics.
But I'm assuming Rookie's never seen it because he's been quiet. So
yes, I would assume he's never seen it.
Right, I've seen the Santa Claus, but I've not seen Santa Claus the movie.
It's interesting. Yes, you should check it out. I think you might like it.
I just might.
I mean, if you like at least the Salkind Superman movies with Christopher Reeve.
I have not seen any of those Superman movies.
Oh my God, Rookie.
We always discover more that I have not seen. Isn't that great?
The more you know. But speaking of which, keeping it on the Santa Claus train, I have the Santa Claus with Tim Allen, which I watched with the kids. So there you go. It's a very different story than Santa Claus the movie. I've had this one for a long time. Tim Allen does a great one. The first one's the best. It's just a fun movie, something I think we all remember growing up with. And yeah, I don't know what else to say about it. I think like it's another one of those movies I think has been talked to death and everything. So
I'd say it's good. I just rewatched it recently too. Watching it now compared to when I was younger, it's a very good single dad kind of movie. Like, he's just doing his thing. He's trying to connect with his kid. I love how he almost ignores Neil entirely. Like, he just like, bitch, I'm not going to address you. Fuck you. Like, he does not care, or he insults him at any chance he can to insult Neil. And it's just funny. I just love the dynamic with that. I like the boss, the guy who plays like Frank and everybody else, Raymond. I forget the guy's name. He's just like, God, you've gotten fat. What happened to you? Like,
I love the fact that you know him as Frank from Everybody Loves Raymond, when I know him as Young Frankenstein, the Frankenstein monster from Young Frankenstein, Mel Brooks.
No, that's crazy. Oh, I didn't know he's in that. Oh, that's cool. But yeah, like, so the way they talk is kind of funny with it. It's bee sting. They have the gradual. He doesn't like. The idea with the Santa Claus. I think it's hilarious. Like, okay, so the concept is great. It's like, what if there was a clause with being Santa Claus, like lawyer jargon, and it's like, what? Okay, and so he accidentally, I guess, sort of causes his death by startling him on the roof, and then he dies, and then he disappears, force ghosts away, and I guess if he had a wife, because the Mrs. Claus, I guess she disappears too. I don't know. The elves, it's kind of funny. The elves don't give a fuck about him.
But I haven't watched the Disney Plus show because I don't really care.
Well, that's not the Plus show. I said Mrs. Claus is in the Santa Claus too.
With the Disney Plus show, they actually, from what I understand, is they actually go into what happened to the Santa Claus that he knocked off the roof.
Okay.
I've never watched it because I don't.
Yeah, neither. I didn't know.
Only like the first one. I think the second one's okay. The third one is is what
the second one goes a little goofy, but I think
the sequels, yeah.
I feel like the second one goes a little goofy, but I think that it retains enough of some of the charm that the first has. Their worst change in number 2 is having the fucking reindeer go like they can like stupid noises to talk. It's fine. It's just grunts. You don't need to have them actually to have goober talk. Like, ugh. But no, like the first one's really good on the second watch, and then he gradually has to sort of become the role. Kids sort of know that he's Santa Claus, which is kind of weird. Kind of a weird detail to miss too. They like kind of barely glaze over that like kids will just sort of know that he's Santa.
I showed the kids last year Home Alone, and they loved Home Alone, and that's like the only Christmas movie they continually watch. So instead of watching Home Alone for like the 100th time, I was like, how about we try the Santa Claus? So I showed them the Santa Claus, and they liked the Santa Claus. They liked it. So that's why I watched it, and that was a leftover Christmas movie. Oh, well, sort of a leftover Christmas movie, because I might have another one sort of similar, but not really a Christmas movie. But yeah, I love the first movie. I think it's the best. I think that's when Tim Allen was really at the top of his game. And so yeah, there you have it. The Santa Claus. So since you don't have any more Rook, we'll back to you, Tom. What do you got for us? If you're ready.
Sorry, swallowing some food, but yes.
Sorry. I know. I've been trying to make sure you have time to do what you need to do.
Oh, no, that's cool. I've been just, I got distracted earlier and shit happened, but
it happens.
So yeah, last minute. Excuse me, Christmas Eve. I think it was. I think it was Christmas Eve. Yeah. I'm like, fuck it. I'm gonna watch one more Christmas movie because I'm like, decided I wasn't going to watch anymore besides Wonderful Life after that. Right. Or no, I watched Wonderful Life just before that. But, so I was like, yeah, it's been sitting here for about 2 months now. I'm going to check it out. It came out last year. Yeah, it's called Violent Night.
Mm-hmm.
It's got David Harbour in it. And I believe it's from Tommy Wirkola, the director, Norwegian director. And it stars David Harbour and Beverly D'Angelo and John Leguizamo. And I ended up liking it a hell of a lot more than I had planned on. I wasn't so sure I was going to dig it. Yeah, I mean, clearly the makers of it are huge fans of Die Hard and Home Alone.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it even references Home Alone. But overall, I found it very entertaining. The basic outline is David Harbour's Santa Claus, and he's been doing it for hundreds of years. And you kind of get a little bit of background on the character. He was a former Viking warrior. And then he got the Christmas magic, and he didn't know how to explain it, but he just got it.
Mm-hmm.
And he's kind of getting to the point where he's just like, should I just hang it up? You know, all anybody wants anymore is money. You don't really understand what Christmas is all about, all that kind of shit. And greed. So he's thinking this might be his last year. It's pretty much the same thing, about the same I did. Yeah. And he ends up at this rich house, this very wealthy, well-off family's house, where the matriarch is played by Beverly D'Angelo. And she kind of runs this company, and she's got like her kids, her 2 kids, like puppets, you know, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And the grandkids and everybody's there for Christmas. And John Leguizamo shows up with his crew, who actually have infiltrated the party, kind of like via Die Hard, and takes this family hostage over $300 million that's supposedly in the safe in the basement. And Santa Claus is there at the time this happens. So, of course, he's like, well, shit. And there's this little girl who's on the good list, so he can't not do anything about it. So it's kind of one of those movies. It's hilarious. It's got a lot of action, a lot of blood and guts, some great Christmas tunes. One of those movies I think I'll add. It's not quite as good as Fat Man, but it's right up there with Fat Man as far as like those kind of holiday films. Yeah.
I've not seen Violent Night yet, but I've heard a lot of
You'll
people
like it a
talk
lot, I
about
think.
it. So.
I think you'll like it a lot.
I mean, I do like David Harbour as an actor. I can't say much for him as a person because but I do like his acting. Yeah, it's something I've been looking forward to. I've heard a lot of people say it's like Die Hard meets Home Alone. So it sounds like a fun movie. So I'm looking forward to watching that eventually. It just came out 4K, didn't it? Was it the 4K this year that they just released it?
The Steelbook, which I think Best Buy still has. I think it's been out since last year though. I think it came out on video pretty quick. If not, maybe it was just finally released on home video. I know I got it back in like November or October.
I know they released.
I've been sitting on it for a while. Yeah.
When it first came out, I know there was Blu-ray, and then I think that 4K is fairly new because it's one of those.
Or it might be a Best Buy exclusive. I don't know. That could be.
Yeah, maybe. But I do want to see that. That is something I'm very, very interested in seeing. I haven't seen it in a while. I've never seen it. I mean, I was about to say I've never seen it in a while, but I've never seen it. But yes, it sounds like it's one of those movies that takes you by surprise. Go ahead, Rick. You want to say something?
No, sounds like a cool movie.
Yeah, I thought Fat Man was good, and I was pleasantly surprised about Fat Man. So I'm interested. I did.
It wasn't as good as Fat Man, but it's funnier.
Yeah, yeah. So that it is geared a little more towards modern audiences, right. I don't mean like modern audiences. You know what I mean? I mean like normal.
No, there's really not any woke shit in it.
No, I don't mean like I didn't mean like the woke side. I mean like modern.
The closest thing I would say is they fall into the same stupid trope of lately you can't have. It's always a white man with a black woman.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's usually the new trope. So there's a mixed couple that has a kid, but I mean that's not even brought up. Right, yeah. So plus there. The only thing that's kind of remotely close to being sort of woke is you kind of have a deadbeat dad of sorts. But he's not quite a deadbeat dad exactly. You see as the film plays out, it's hard to explain without getting into spoilers.
Right.
But like he's clearly been living under his mom's shadow for way too long. Right. So there's a reason why he's that. You know what I mean? So it's not like
I get you.
He's just cucked out in the movie just to be cucked out. Like there's a reason for it. It's explained and it plays out throughout the movie. So I think in that respect, not even remotely woke, not even really much modern isms outside of the hilarity that every kid either wants just money or a video game.
Well, that's true. That's like
there's actually a funny scene where Santa's like digging through his bag, trying to pull out some like a weapon. He's like, don't any kids want any like baseball bats or anything anymore? He's like, because all he keeps filling out is fucking video game. Gift card.
That's cool. I gotta check it out. I gotta watch that now. So I'll probably have to wait till next Christmas before I get to it, or maybe I'll just get it and watch it here soon. But yeah, it sounds like a good movie. It does sound fun. I gotta admit, it does sound
one of the
fun.
best Marvel movies we've had in a while.
One of the best Marvel movies.
And I say that because you could have just replaced it with Thor instead of Santa Claus in a way. A less powerful Thor, because there's a reason. Because like I said, he's a Viking warrior.
Yeah.
So his fighting style clearly is that. So it's like almost like if Thor was saving this family on Christmas, but he lost his powers or something like that.
Right. Nice. It sounds fun. I got.
Because he even has a great bit because he doesn't know how to use guns. So any of you guys know how to use one of these gizmos?
That sounds fun. I like when they do sort of the fish out of water when like they're still like a badass, but they're sort of a fish out of water. I like.
Oh yeah, but he's lethal with a hammer. That's the point, right? Like that's why I said it's very comparable to Thor. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that sounds fun. I definitely got to see it because like I heard so many praising that movie when it first came out, and I was like, that worries me sometimes when so many people.
You're basically in the first 5 minutes. Like at first, you're just kind of like, okay. This is like every other kind of stupid Santa Claus movie where he's losing faith in Christmas and blah, 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 blah. And that's just, and then the first real gag of the movie is so hilarious that you just kind of like, really, they went there already? And then you're like, from there, the whole movie just kind of flows really well. It's under 2 hours, clips along. Clips along. Like I said, very much in the vein of Die Hard and Home Alone. So you already kind of know what you're getting into, you know. Like I said, even references Home Alone, so a couple times.
That's cool. I'm gonna have to get.
As a little girl watches Home Alone for the first time, like the night before or whatever, or the week before in the movie. So her whole thing is she talks about it in the beginning, but then she gets the idea to set up booby traps like Kevin does.
Yeah.
So she's doing her thing with that while Santa's doing his thing like John McClane kind of.
Nice.
So in that respect, it's kind of like a mix between the two. Yeah.
Nice. That's cool. Cool. All right. I guess that's going to go on my list now. I'm going to have to pick that up. Maybe I'll get a good deal on it since Best Buy is going out of the physical media thing, and since they got a bunch of those stuff on sale for like $9.99 and stuff. So
yeah, I don't know how much it is right now, but yeah, for those who may not know this, I don't know how long it's going to last, but Best Buy has all of the 100th anniversary steelbooks for Disney on sale right now for $9.99. Yeah. So regardless if you think they're butt ugly or not, you can get a shit ton of 4K movies basically for nothing, because these are normally $30 to $40. Like I'm pissed because I just paid like $27 because it was on sale, like 18% off or whatever it was for Iron Man. And now I gotta get it for $9.99. You can get the Star Wars films for $9.99. You can get Little Mermaid, all of the Disney films that have been released on, even including the newer 4K ones like Nightmare Before Christmas and Snow White and Cinderella. So yeah, get your ass out to Best Buy or get online as soon as possible before the deal ends. I don't know when it ends. So yeah.
Yeah. Aren't they supposed to be out by like February? Is the physical media gone by
They are going to be done altogether. So I've been hearing rumors about them doing a lot of clearance deals like this. So yeah.
So I think I might
pick up. I'm going to stick around. Like that's what sucks for me is I've already got most of them. There's only like 3 or 4 of them that I kind of threw in a basket if I get paid the next day or so, if they're still on sale and if they're still available, I'll grab.
Yeah.
But I like Toy Story and stuff like that on 4K. I was like, yeah, fuck it, I'll get that one.
Maybe if
for $10, why not?
Yeah, why not? Maybe I'll get like a Violent Night and stuff. That's what I've been kind of waiting on to see, because I know they're going to be wanting to unload a lot of this stuff. So that's what I was kind of waiting on. Rook's up there petting his pussy. So.
Holy shit, the ears on that cat. Is that like one of those sphinxes or what?
No, it's just the angle. It makes it look all weird with it. She got normal ears.
Okay, all right, I see what you're
doing. Normal size ears there, nothing too crazy.
Oh, okay, I kind of see it now.
She likes to chew on my controller, so that's what she rubbed against. But there you go. There you go.
I thought it was like had super long ears.
I know.
Not quite.
That's what I said. I'm totally going to have to do a thing to what do you call it, where we get limited ads. I know I'm going to have to do that again.
Yeah, so I recommend it. And it's got some deleted scenes, behind the scenes stuff. Actually, you can. There was only like 1 or 2 of the deleted scenes. I'm like, I don't understand why they deleted these, but excuse me. Otherwise, you can tell it was just for time, but. Because you get the scenes that were kind of cut were interstitial stuff in between, letting you know kind of relationship stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I think there was a reason why one of them was cut out. You're like, okay, I can kind of see why that was, because otherwise you gives away too much early on in the film. But surprisingly, it didn't seem like there was that much cut away from the movie. So
cool. All right, I guess we'll go to me now. But that's I'm definitely putting that on my list because I got to see that.
Yeah,
now.
I would. I think you'll like it.
Make sure you check it twice.
Speaking of,
like it too.
Yeah, I think Rook would probably like it.
Oh yeah.
But speaking of sort of fish out of water action movies that's set on Christmas, I have Trancers, the new 4K of Trancers.
Oh.
Yeah, it's.
I saw you had a bunch of movies. Did you buy those, or did you get a free thing from Full Moon?
That's
that's awesome, dude.
I think people on my channel are tired of hearing me talk about Full Moon, but
I'm not. I'm like motherfucking lucky, you dude. You got Full Moon, man. I love.
I got connections within them now, but it actually wasn't as bad transfer as I thought. But it's not. The Blu-ray's still better, guys. So better looking. But Trancers, I love Trancers, and I did get the 4K. So
at least the 4K of Puppet Master 3 is better. That's
which
for sure.
I did get. I did get that as well, which I haven't watched it yet. But I did watch this because this does take place at Christmas time with Jack Death, who is a fish out of water sent from the future into the past to stop the bad guy from making transfers, which are like zombie people. Yeah, it's a great, speaking of which, directed by Charles Band, and today is his birthday. So happy birthday, Charles Band. Also, happy birthday, Barbara Crampton. She shares a birthday with him. But yeah, I love this movie, Rook. I think you would enjoy this movie as well, too. It's very, if you've ever seen like the Terminator and stuff, this has a very unique time travel thing that doesn't play into some of those other time travel movies. What they do is they send his consciousness back in time to one of his ancestors. So like they put his
it's kind of like
yeah,
whatchamacallit, that game,
kind of like Assassin's Creed, sort of
before Assassin's Creed. Yeah.
Prince of Persia, or no, that's not it.
No, I mean it's like Assassin's Creed, but it's like 20 years or 30 years before Assassin's Creed. That's my point. Yeah.
They just send his mind back, and it just so happens that his ancestors, same actor plays him in the future and the past. It's just that's the way it works. Because Tim Thomerson is fucking awesome in this movie. I love his character of Jack Death. This is a great movie. 4K. I can't say the 4K transfer is the greatest, but it wasn't as bad as I expected. It just doesn't seem like some of the color's been zapped out of it a little bit. It's not.
There's some weird thing about it. I don't know what it is. Honestly, I'm not sure if it's not the same exact transfer from the Blu-ray and they just up-converted it or something like that, because it looks really weird. There's something weird about it. I can't quite put my finger on it. I remember when it first came out, because I remember telling you guys it's like a video. It almost looks like it's shot on video, which it isn't.
Mm-hmm.
But there's something weird about it, just kind of the way it looks.
Yeah, it's a little off. Just a little off. But yeah, but if you got the Blu-ray by all accounts is pretty darn good looking. So if you don't want to upgrade to 4K, that's okay on this one. But the movie is great. I love Tim Thomerson's Jack Death. I love when she brings him like Chinese food with beef, and he's like, "You mean from a cow?" He's like, they don't get like that in the future. They don't have beef in the future. So it's pretty cool. But yeah, so basically it does take place on December 25th. It's Christmas time, and he does kill a mall Santa who becomes a transfer. So he basically, he's sent back in time to stop the bad guy. He hooks up with Helen Hunt, who is from the mall. She plays like a Santa's helper elf, and they fall in love. Like sort of like the Terminator aspect, like that. But he's there. He's a future cop, and he kicks ass. It's a fun movie. I highly recommend Transfers. It is one of Charles Band's best movies I think he's ever done. And I did also watch the Transfers short film that it comes on, this Transfer City of Los Angeles, which is sort of like a semi-sequel, kind of picks up a couple years after the movie ends. And it's only like 24 minutes. It was pretty neat. Not the best quality. Now that does look like it was shot on VHS. On tape. It's not like they didn't bother cleaning that up or anything, but it's fun to watch, and it was a good movie. If you've never seen it, I do recommend this.
They actually have sequels, so I mean,
yes, they do have sequels. I have up to 3. I haven't watched past 3 because I don't. After they like lose Helen Hunt and stuff in the main storyline, it kind of is just like him. It becomes generic, which is fine. There's 5 of them, which is fine, and they're full moon type movies. So, but the first one is great. I highly recommend the first one. It's definitely a great action flick. Definitely a great fish out of water tale. Definitely like unique time travel. And I love that on the back of the case it does say Transfers is effing amazing. To tell you the truth, it has one of the most original concepts of time travel I've ever seen in any movie. Quentin Tarantino. So I love that.
Wow.
Blurb that they put on the back of that. So, but yeah, I managed, which I do have one more full moon movie tonight for you guys to show, but I did get a big box. They said that I'm friends with one of the directors that work over there. I did get a big box. He sent me a big box of full moon movies, and I haven't watched them all. So
lucky.
So, yeah. Which is cool because I've been a fan of full moon films since I was a kid, and it's just like it's insane to me that I know somebody over there now. But yeah, Transfers is good, and That is one I guess you could debate if it's a Christmas movie or not, but I would say that's more like a Lethal Weapon situation where it takes place on Christmas, but Christmas is not important to the plot of the movie. So, but considering he comes from the future and it's July, like he even says that he goes, "It's December, it's July in 20 whatever, 2046 whatever." So yeah, there you guys have it. Trancers is my second pick of the night. So what's up? Back to you, Tom, if you're ready or anything.
That's cool. I will be dipping out for the night though, because I'll probably I can feel it coming like 15 more minutes. Probably I'd be.
You actually would want to possibly talk about this one, but that's too bad.
Okay, I'll stick around for yours. But if I get the hints, then I'll just dip out.
I even bumped this ahead for you because I've been waiting a long time for this.
Yes.
I finally got Tremors 2. Well, this is my first one. I grabbed the wrong one. That's Tremors 2. It's the same kind of cover.
Yeah,
I also have the old one here. But yeah, so I watched Tremors 2. For the most part, it looks pretty good. Big issue with the CGI shots, which there's like 12 of, I think, throughout the whole film.
Mm-hmm.
They look like they were shot on video or something. Something's off about them. They're like up converted from the Blu-ray or whatever. But the rest of the film looks great. Sound, they actually did a weird thing. They didn't do like a Dolby Atmos mix. They did a Dolby 4.0 mix. So,
So the shriekers sound more weird?
No, it actually just feels more spread out. Like the 2.0 mix actually felt like it had more thumpier bass in it. But it also was like the 4.0 mix was lower. So like if you turn it up, it might be a little bit more whatever. But no, overall, I mean, it's a good film as far as sequels straight to video go. As far as a 4K, I think this is the first 4K I've had of a straight to video movie that I can think of offhand. Oh no, that's not true. The Child's Play ones.
Yeah, I got a few Vinegar Syndrome ones that are 4K.
But being that it's older and it was shot on film, it looks great outside of those few CGI shots, which are very, very few. But the rest of the shots,
they utilize a lot of good practical in the film.
Yeah. And it's a huge improvement over the old one, which I just have the set packer of the earlier ones. So definitely worth the upgrade, but I'd wait for a sale or like when they remove it from the box, because it's like 40 some bucks still or something like that, or 30 some bucks. It's like for a part 2 of a movie like that, I'm just kind of like, it's a little pricey. But I got the limited edition one with most of them have a green cover. I got the one with the tan covers. So
green for Tremors?
Yeah, it's the one.
That's
and
like the opposite color I would think goes with it. Wow.
Well, that's why I got that one, because I wanted it to match this one here, because I have the original here, and I'll go grab the other one here in just a second. But
well,
go ahead.
If you think you paid too much money for the limited edition one, get ready because it is out of print now. So,
oh wow.
Yeah, if anybody wants that limited edition one that with the cover that matches the first Tremors, that's not green cover, it's gone. You ain't getting it, and people's gonna be scalping it on eBay for like $200-$300. So that one's gone. Because
I seen the green one at Barnes and Noble, but yeah, here it is actually. So you can see the real one, so it actually matches with the original.
Yeah, there you go. That's better. Yeah.
So it's a lot nicer.
That's much better too than the ones that have the teeth on them. I think I
didn't leave that. I flipped it out for the video cover, of course.
Yeah, that's good.
But it comes with a poster, just like the first one does too, of the cross section of the Shriekers instead of the worms.
That's cool.
It's a book, and a poster. So yeah, it's basically the same kind of set you get with the first film.
Right.
For the most part. So it's a nice companion piece to that one. But at that point, I think these are the only 2 Tremor movies I give a shit about as far as being in 4K. Because I've got this, and I got the rest of them all separate after that, after part 4.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I think
I haven't even opened those yet. So I think I've watched up to 5, but I'm not even 100% sure if I watched 5.
Like me and Rooks talked about, and we talked about before, like I really like the first 2. I think 3 and 4 is all right. I don't think they're bad, but after that, I'm good.
Yeah, that's the way it should be. Tremors 2 is a really good type of sequel, I think, because it's like they take the concept where the people that have been through the graboid stuff before knows how to fight them. So when they're given the means to take them on, they can be a lot easier to take down. But then they even show, like, if there's a whole bunch of them, well, you're not really equipped for that either. That's pretty tough. But then on top of that, instead of getting a bigger enemy, they get a much smaller, in a way, more easy to handle enemy. Yet they don't know how they work, and they end up like fucking up a lot of their things with their location. Like taking out communication is a huge factor. Taking out the engines is a huge factor with the distances to travel and stuff. Like it's a good type of sequel, I think, that doesn't just copy the first one, and it gets you into similar situations, but for different reasons and different ways to beat them. And different risk too, because they can multiply so much just by eating stuff. So it's like that's a different kind of risk compared to a graboid risk. Yeah, really good concept. Really good.
The graboid better than the little thing.
I do too. I think graboid is better, but like in terms of making continuing movies and making sequels, like that. Like it's a lot of people I hear don't like Aliens because they make the alien like a hive mind type of thing instead of a like just creepy creature on its own that can take on a bunch of people.
Don't like Aliens. Aliens is like better than the first one.
Yeah, I like Aliens more than the first one, but I'm trying to see how people tackle arguments with stuff, and I think Tremors 2 is a good example of how to do a sequel. Maybe there's elements that could be tweaked, like Grady's edition. A lot of people would like, oh, it's supposed to be Val, but I think they do okay with it. Like he's the new guy that wants to
Kevin Bacon
show
wasn't
up.
coming back at that time, so
Yeah.
Yeah. Have a good night, Real Sean Crummel. Appreciate you for hanging with us tonight. Sorry, Rook. I just want to say good night to him.
Yeah, no, you're good. Yeah, everybody, Rook likes Tremors. Yeah, dude, I did a whole thing talking about Tremors before. Like, I praise a lot of films around here, especially Tremors.
Well, I know Tremors is one of your favorites, so I figured you want to talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, 5, 6, and 7 are the worst dog shits ever, though. I consider them to do to Tremors worse than what like Luke does to Star Wars and TLJ, essentially. Like they literally strip Bert like naked. They make him fucking weird, get shown up by freaking Jamie Kennedy of all people, and other. Oh my god! They try to invoke Val. Oh, how can you only eat half a testicle? Let's piss to homage the first Tremors. Let's piss off of a roof instead of having a water tower. Aren't we fun? Like, Jesus Christ, no.
That's why you don't go past the. But I do think it is one of those rare, like straight to video sequels of a movie like Tremors. Where it's actually really good. It's actually pretty good. Because I love a lot of straight to video movies, and a lot of straight to video sequels can be really crappy compared to the ones that that they're being a sequel to. But there can also be really fun in a bad cheesy way. Tremors 2 is fun in a good, like, this is a decent continuation of the story way.
Yeah, you see Burt Gummer come in. He's the gun guy. Took out a freaking Tremor graboid in the first one and everything. He comes prepared with this one with a huge army truck full of guns and high tech shit. And then you see him coming back to them with it all torn up and wrecked, and all his guts all around it. Yeah, I am completely out of ammo. That's never happened to me before. That's so great.
I will say that's the one thing I do not like about Tremors 2 is the fact that Burt is divorced. I don't. After watching,
I agree that sucks. I agree with that. Having Reba, I don't know why she.
It's Reba McEntire and Kevin Bacon were much bigger stars by this point in time. Yeah, there was not enough money to get Reba back.
And I think she was on her show already. Or getting close. Yeah. So.
Right. So, I mean, I would have preferred that she be in it too, or at least them not be divorced.
What
I think would have been better.
Off is I've not seen the last movie, but I can't believe with between him having a kid, because I think I've seen the 5th one, because that's the one where he finds out he has a kid, isn't it?
Well, no. So in the fifth one, that's when,
because that's when
find
Jamie
out he has a
Kennedy's
kid.
first one's in.
And the sixth one, they say that Val has a kid, and you meet Valerie, and that's Val's daughter, apparently.
Okay, see, I've never seen that one, and then I watched a review of the last one, and it spoiled it that he dies at the end, and it's like.
No. So, the Bert dies. Yes, he
Bert
literally
dies,
he literally
have...
jumps into the graboid's mouth, flipping it off.
And basically, you had
for no reason.
And the reviewer was like that they didn't even bother changing the character all that much, considering they didn't bring back Jamie Kennedy. They just.
Well, they put in some other dude, the Napoleon Dynamite guy, and he pretty much fulfills the same role, but he's just not his son.
That's what they said. It's like they didn't even bother really rewriting anything.
Yeah.
Well, and they had Bert start off like abandoned on an island, like Castaway style, but like he's there intentionally, and he's just like, "Oh, I'm just a crazy old man on the island now." Like, it's like, God, it's again, but like in a worse way than like Luke, though. Like he's just forcing him. Like they have no idea who he is, what this character is, and what he does, and what he likes, and what he wants, and he always seems to have to be convinced to save people when he was always that he wants people alive. What do you fucking mean? Like he wants to professionally be able to kill all these monsters, not have more people be prepared. Not, I'm just gonna go away because I don't like people.
Directed by Rian Johnson.
Jesus Christ! Like, when I make the video, I'm gonna make video when I rip into the fucking sequels, man. Jesus Christ! I think in 2024 that's gonna be my goal to, finally make videos on Tremors. Honestly.
But we do have a $1.99 super chat once again from Doug 1985. Virginia Loves Horror says Tremors 2 only straight to video. I love, which that's awesome. Like I said, I love lots of straight to video movies. I grew up on them. So I love the cheesier the better. But Tremors 2 is a great straight to video movie. And just for that, you get this since we're talking about it.
You will have long blonde hair, big green eyes, world class breasts, ass that won't quit, and legs that go all the way up.
Yeah.
Love it.
But yes, but I'm glad to know that even with the CGI things, that the new 4K looks good, because I haven't got mine yet, so I'm looking.
I mean, if there was a bunch of CGI, it'd be like one thing, but since it's only a few shots, it's like whatever.
Yeah.
It does stick out like a sore thumb.
I wonder how Tremors 3 will look. Tremors 3, I think, doesn't have too much CGI, but the ass blasters are kind of weird looking anyway, especially when they fly. So it's like, I imagine if they did a remaster, that would still look kind of odd. I don't know if they'd be able to fix or make anything worse. I have no idea.
How it was shot too. I don't know.
Yeah, I just don't think you're going to get a 4K of 3 and 4. I think
it's weird. It's weird because like Tremors 2 looks like that could have been a theater release. Like the quality didn't seem much lower than the first one. Honestly, it seemed pretty even, like as far as the quality, as far as I could tell. And then Tremors 3, it looks like that was way cheaper. And Tremors 4 looks like they did put more money in it, but it's a cheaper type of setting. And I don't know. It's kind of weird how those 4 were, but those are all in the category of normal and watchable compared to anything after 4. So yeah, I could talk about Tremors all day, so I'll just stop.
No, you're fine. No, you're good. Yeah. I'm glad I need to get mine in my Tremors 2. I do have Tremors 1 on 4K, so I'm looking forward to getting the second one.
Yeah, I'd wait till it comes out. Like I said, unless you're like super worried about getting it with all the swag, then I just wait till it goes down in price and they just release a single version of it, or just the disc only version, or whatever you call it.
Yeah, because the limited edition is OOP now, so that's what at least diabolic, whatever. That's what they said. So
yeah. I do have.
Well, you can check Arrow's website, but I don't know.
Yeah,
there is one Tremors thing in Tremors 2 that does kind of. That I wish that they would reword or something if they were to change anything ever. Like when they discover some of the origin of the graboids, they're like, it's a Precambrian life form.
You can still get it on the Arrow website, but it's like $45 plus shipping.
Hmm.
Yeah, Precambrians like one cell things, sure, but that's like pre-dinosaurs and shit. Like, what would it eat? What would it eat?
They're from outer space.
Well, yeah, I like his disappointment. He's like, "Damn, I thought they were from outer space." But
They were
I'm okay with them
originally.
being on Earth, an ancient thing. But I don't like the time period that she says they're from because it doesn't really make any sense.
If they're from outer space, it does.
Yeah, but that's a whole nother. That's a spin-off universe with this many thing. The graboids have their. So who flies the spaceship? Graboids, shriekers, or ass blasters?
They were just small, small.
Or did they
on
come here in an asteroid?
and
Or
then
did they land in an
slammed
asteroid?
into the Earth, and through the radiation, they grew and dug into the Earth, and just ate creatures that were in the Earth until they could find shit on the surface.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe the original ones could swim, and then when there was finally food on land.
Yeah, maybe.
Nice.
Who knows?
Rookie, you're obviously a
There's
dino
a lot
nerd.
of sea life that is we can't categorize or say how old it is, and we don't know how that was affected by a lot of things. So there's still like, sharks have basically been around since the age of dinosaurs. So yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, yeah, it's fine. It's when she says Precambrian, I mean that's like one of the earliest time period things as far as life forms. So it's like because the whole concept was one cell things. Because
that's where they should have had her say like, well, they could have came from outer space.
Well, yeah. I wish it was less definitive. I wish it was less definitive in how she says it. Like that. Yeah. So it could still be up in the air on what their origin actually is. That would have been better. It could fix.
Well, my favorite part is that she's in fact the naked lady on his wall.
That is the funniest.
I love that.
That is the funniest coincidence.
Right? Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, the calendar, this random calendar I have. You, the person who is working for a company that is being attacked by graboids in Mexico, is also the same one that's on my calendar. Like what?
Girl.
The gods must have made that work. I don't know.
But I'm glad to know that it does look decent other than the CGI, which I can live with. Yeah. I can live with that. It's like you said, there's not very many CGI shots in the movie, so it doesn't really matter. But yeah, that's
Joey says they could have come from space and ate all the dinosaurs. That'd be a good way to have that end.
You're obviously a dino nerd. I like that. But yeah, hey, dinosaurs are cool, man. But yeah, that's good to know. It's good to know. And yes, the green case is still available. I looked that up for $41.99. So
it just seems like an odd color to go with Tremors because it's like such a deserty type of atmosphere and zone. You think of reds, yellows, oranges, blacks, green. It's like that's like the opposite of what would go with it. I would think.
I don't really know why they did that.
Like even blue would be better because like blue sky, hot sun. Like that. Yeah. That makes more sense. Green, it's like they literally don't have green. That's just me. I don't know.
It's kind of weird. Kind of weird. But anything else you guys want to add before we move on to me? Because I don't know if Rookie you want to go.
I'm good unless he wants to check out. Yeah, we're good.
Yeah, I'm a dip out. This is fun, though. Still, of course, I'll be back next week, and I will have watched actual things by then. I got some new stuff again. I even got a couple of the recommended ones from I forget who last week. I got Ninja 3, Tombstone, and I bought the last time I was watching Young Guns on streaming a little bit to see because I couldn't afford the thing, but I got paid some money for Christmas, so now I bought the Young Guns 1 and 2 on DVD or Blu-ray to be shipped and stuff. So I'll get that probably before next week and I'll check those out. So
okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Yep.
Good night, Rook. Thanks for hanging with us. I hope you feel better, man.
Yep, appreciate that. Catch you later.
By the way, Scott Hughes says that was him.
Scott.
So there you go.
Yep. Yeah, I got a couple of the movies he did, and I'll try to get some more at some point later.
All right. Have a good one. All right. So we'll move on to me. I hope you guys like another full moon because this is my last full moon here for the night. But I got the ginger. I keep forgetting. I got to hold it over this way. The Gingerweed Man, which is a spinoff of the Ginger Dead Man. This is only available on DVD. This is who I know within Full Moon. The director of this movie, Brooks Davis, is the guy I know who's within Full Moon. He's a director, editor, producer over there. And I've had him on my channel, and this was his movie that he directed. And this this movie is crazy. You gotta understand what kind of movie you're getting into when you watch a movie called The Gingerweed Man. Don't take it seriously. Don't be expecting Citizen Kane. Don't be expecting high quality acting and stuff like that. So it's basically about a puppet who smokes weed and sells weed and who lives in this apartment and bangs chicks, and his coworker, who's a woman, gets kidnapped, and he's got to save her. So that's it's the thing of it. That's what happens in The Gingerweed Man. And there's a little ginger, like a little weed ball that's like a little baby weed that he takes care of because it's some scientifically thing, and so he's got to track that down as well. So there you go. There's The Gingerweed Man. I'm glad he sent me this because I didn't have this one on DVD. And when he was talking, there's a scene in this movie, and I asked him about it because when I interviewed him, because there's a scene in the movie when the Gingerweed Man puppet has a love scene with a woman, right? And I'm like, and the woman is like, she amazing tits. And I'm like, how do you go about asking an actress, like, hey, we want you to go topless and we want you to pretend like you're doing this with this puppet, right? And he's like, that's a great question, because we originally hired this one actress to do it, and she signed on to do it. And she was like, yeah, that's great, I'm going to do it. And then the day of, or like when it come close to the day of filming, she bounced out. She refused to do it. So he had to get another actress, and so he got in this other actress, and she was apparently very comfortable with herself, because he said when she came out topless, top off, she said she was hanging out everywhere, even down, and he was like, you're going to cover up? And she's like, no, I'm fine. And he said, so he kind of just gave him the puppet and let her go to town with it. He said they had to clean that thing off by the time it was over, because she was doing things with that they did not expect for them to do with that. So just to be a fly on the set that day, and just knowing that you hired this chick and didn't expect what was going down to go down. And so a lot of that was actually cut out of the movie, but it is on here in deleted scenes. So you can see the deleted scenes where she goes, and she does go pretty far with the puppet in this. So, but yeah, I watched The Gingerweed Man. It's hilarious. It's fun. It's just, I mean, if you get stoned and watch it. I mean, that's what this movie is made for. It even says that at the beginning of the movie. It says, take a hit and enjoy the movie. So there you go. But Brooks Davis, he's an awesome guy. He just did another movie for Full Moon called Bring Her to Me. He's the one that sent me a bunch of these that I know within Full Moon. And he said he would like to come on the Physical Media Show. So, because he's a physical media collector. So we will probably have him on the show eventually, and we can hang out with him and talk to him and pick his brain about Full Moon and his physical media collection. So I'll work on trying to get him on here for us. But there you guys go. The Gingerweed Man. Not much else I can say about that movie. So Tom, if you want to go into whatever you got there. So
yeah, off my Christmas path again. Yeah, those other two were my only hangovers. I got in the mood for a court drama again, as I tend to do. So this time I pulled out the Paul Newman film The Verdict, which is from 1982, I believe. I think so. And I believe he also got nominated for this, but didn't win. But no, it's a pretty decent film. He plays like a washed up attorney, who's basically like a ambulance chaser. And he gets what's probably like one of the surest cases he's ever had in his life, at least from the surface.
Mm-hmm.
And he even has a doctor that claims he'll come in and testify for him and stuff, which is a rarity because doctors don't tend to, you know, testify against other doctors. But as he keeps getting deeper and deeper into this, like everything keeps working against him, and you know, clearly the hospital that he's suing is owned by the church, so they're backed by a lot of money. And he starts to realize that people are being paid off and everything's working against him, and this could cost him his career and all this other stuff. And it's a really compelling film for the most part, a little slow moving, of course. I mean, it's an early 80s film, so it actually feels more like a 70s movie, which is kind of weird. But no, I was actually kind of surprised. It was pretty good. I've heard about it before. Sidney Lumet is the director. It's also got Jack Warden in it. I think initially it was supposed to have Robert Redford in it, but yeah, it was a really good film. I think Frank Sinatra really wanted to be in it too, but they turned him down.
Oh man,
they're probably lucky that nobody died.
Probably nobody died. I don't think I've ever. What was it called again? I don't think I've seen The Verdict. It sounds familiar. Maybe I have seen it. I don't know.
So basically, what the court case is about is the sister had a sister go into the hospital when she was going into labor, and she fell into a coma after they administered what was it, some kind of anesthesia. And it all boils down to whether or not the doctors were negligent or not. And again, I don't want to get into too much because it spoiled too much of it, but what's funny is it was originally written, that was kind of the other thing that's kind of cool about it, is it was written by David Mamet, but he left the project early on because the original director refused to shoot the script the way he had it because it didn't have a verdict. And it's from the producers of Jaws. Okay, so you got David Zanuck and the other guy, what's his name? Richard Zanuck and David Brown. I just mixed the two together there. But like Richard Zanuck's talking about, he's like, we don't have an end to the movie. What are we going to do? Have a question mark after the name? Like, he's like, you can't call it the verdict and not have a verdict, right? Like, so
and we find the client, cut to black.
Yeah, no, it was basically what it was, is you did not find out what the verdict was or anything. So Mamet's like, well, fuck you, I'm done. And the other director then, I don't remember who it was, but brought in some other writers. They went through like 2 or 3 drafts. It wasn't working out. That director left. Sidney Lumet come in. He read one of the later drafts, thought it was all right, but they kept telling him not to read the Mamet script when he found out there was a Mamet script. He was like, oh, no, I want to read that.
Got to.
David Mamet, right? Like, what's up?
Right, yeah.
Like, like, why won't you let me read it? And they're like, well, just because he won't let us do this and that and the other. So he finally read it and he loved it. So he's like, look, I know David a little bit or whatever. I can talk to him. And what he worked out is we get the verdict. What we don't get is other things that are around the verdict. Okay. So I'm not going to spoil it, but like,
right.
So you get the verdict, but you don't get a few other things. So that was enough for Mamet that he's like, fine. Right. He's like, okay, fine. Because it works with the film. Once you see the film, I don't want to spoil it.
Right.
Yeah. So like, yeah, otherwise, no, it was a great film. One of those movies that just kind of, I never got a chance to see when I was younger. But I finally did get a chance to. Yeah, it's a really well received and Oscar nominated film.
Nice.
Yeah, I don't even know if Rook would remember Paul Newman at all.
Yeah, Paul Newman sounds just good.
He died probably a couple of years back before Rook would even know who he was, probably.
I'm not sure if you want to answer this question because of the person in it. So, but Brian Parth, what separates the likes of Sidney Lumet to J.D. Abrams and Zack Snyder?
Well, Sidney Lumet, this is a joke from earlier. Well, Sidney Lumet, he's actually a decent director, Oscar nominated, and I think he's won a few. Directed plenty of wonderful films, including 12 Angry Men, Dog Day Afternoon, Serpico, I think Network. So yeah, no, he's definitely a much bigger talent than either of those two put together.
Right. That sounds good. I don't think I did. It's like I hear the name and I think Paul Newman and I like vaguely remember a courthouse, but I can't.
There is kind of a twist in it too that kind of sends you a little bit in a tizzy too. That you don't quite see. I didn't see coming even. I'm just like, oh, Okay. So like, yeah, the movie does a pretty good job throughout, just keeping you kind of attentive, although it is a bit slow moving, like I said. So keep that in mind if you do check it out, because it is like 2 hours
I don't
plus, I
mind a
think.
slow movie. I don't mind that.
No, but I mean, you kind of get once you get into it, you kind of get into it.
Yeah, if
But
the
it's just
story
one of
hooks
those
you.
roles that like basically only Paul Newman can play. Like, and you get that from the making of it too, with all the guys that were interested in doing this, but like Robert Redford was one of the ones who he was the one actually we wanted to change it more than anybody else, if I remember right now. He may have even wanted to direct it too. That was probably what it was. I can't remember because I watched the making of it right after I watched it last week. But yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. That's cool. That now it kind of makes me want to watch that one movie. It has nothing to do with that, but what's that called with Richard Gere and what's his name?
Oh, it's coming to 4K too.
That was absolutely what is his name? Edward Norton.
Edward Norton. Yeah,
Edward
I know
Norton,
the movie you're talking about.
Yeah,
I have it on 4K on digital, but I'm pretty sure the 4K is coming this year.
When you said that it has a little bit of a twist, it made me think of that Primeval, right?
Primal.
That was called Primal.
No, it's something.
Primal Fear.
Yeah, I was gonna say Primal something. Yeah.
Just to, like, when you mentioned the twist in the verdict, it made me think of that one because that has a major twist that you kind of don't see coming at first.
Well, the twist is not even so much in the verdict as it is. I don't want to give it away because I don't want anybody.
Yeah.
Like, again, it's one of those movies where you're going through it and you're just like, oh shit, and I had to kind of go back and rewatch a couple minutes of it to kind of like, wait a minute, did what just happen think happened, or what am I? And it's not like it's confusing, but you're just kind of like, wait, whoa, slow down. I did not see that coming. And then you're like, the next portion after that, and then it leads up to the end. So like that last third of the film is like the first half is just kind of meandering in. I'm taking the case. He goes in, he decides I'm not gonna take the plea deal because they get offered a deal, right? And of course, everybody's like, you're fucking stupid, including the clients, which kind of puts him in a precarious position because now he has to win, right? Like, and that's kind of where the first half of the film goes. And then when you get to the second half, that is when he gets into court. And that's when, most of it's in court, but that last third, a lot happens. And I mean, not that things aren't happening before that, but I mean, a lot happens in that last maybe even half almost. It just so much happened so quickly. It's like, holy shit. It was a really good film. I can recommend it highly. So
nice.
Yeah. No sense in going on it more before I spoil something.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's the other thing. Thank you, Steven. Bruce Willis is one of the extras in the courtroom.
John McClane,
little baby face John McClane. Yeah.
He's also an extra in Pearl Harbor. So,
well, John McClane is, but
John McClane is, yes.
But Bruce Willis is, he looks pretty young in it. Little rosy cheeks.
Yeah.
Round nose. Yeah.
Now I'm gonna be looking for him if I watch it. I'm gonna be like,
yeah, you can, especially you can see him now. I don't know if you could when it was a video, but now that it's on Blu-ray or whatever. I mean, this is an older Blu-ray. It doesn't look the best, but it's a Fox film, so I wouldn't expect it to get any treatment anytime soon.
Yeah, especially with being a Fox film.
Yeah.
Good old Disney. All right. Well, this is my final pick, and I think you have one more after me.
I do. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So this is my final pick. I got Batman: Mask of the Phantasm on 4K. My nephew got this for me for Christmas, which so happened it was released on Christmas Day in 1993 this year.
Well,
not this year, but
30 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah, 30 years ago. So this actually looks pretty damn good in 4K.
It did. They did a good job. Yeah.
I was very, very surprised. I mean, there are a few scenes where you can tell they blew up the image to release it in theaters.
It looks a little soft in some shots, but
But for the most part,
this is a good one. Yeah.
Yeah, this is next to, I would have to say, oh my God, what Heavy Metal. This is probably one of the better 4Ks I've seen on a cartoon because I've not seen too many differences in cartoons on 4K. Other than maybe this and Heavy Metal and so Heavy Metal.
Cinderella and Snow White look really good.
Did they? I haven't watched those, but
I just previewed them. But yeah, from what I saw, I was like, wow,
that's cool. That is awesome. But but I'm glad that they're starting to look better on 4K, because there was like I bought a couple 4K like of the DC Universe ones, and I'm like,
well,
I
they're
don't
not
really see a
smudging out
difference.
the fucking grain anymore. That's the point, like the
Yeah,
big
that's the
thing.
good thing. Yeah. But this is a great Batman flick. I remember seeing this in theaters as a kid. We went and saw it in theaters. So it holds up. It's one of the best Batman movies out there that you can watch. Mask of the Phantasm, if you don't know the story, takes place in Gotham City. Batman. There's a new person out there that's killing off mob bosses, and an old flame of Bruce Wayne's has returned to town, bringing up old memories. It's sort of basically Batman Year One meets Batman the Animated Series. So that's the story, and it's the Joker's in it. You get a little backstory on the Joker as well, and so like I said, it's sort of Batman Year One meets the animated series. So it was really good. It's so fun. I haven't seen it in a few years. So if you can get a hold of it, go ahead. I mean, I think it's pretty cheap right now. When it first came out, it was a little much, but yeah. So Batman Mask of the Phantasm, and I can, even though you don't get a Blu-ray with the 4K, if you have 4K capabilities, 4K player and 4K TV, it looks incredible. It's probably the best this film will ever look. Honest to goodness. And may Kevin Conroy rest in peace. He's great. He was great Batman voice. But yeah,
that's the only new thing on this edition is there is
there's not
tribute
many.
to Kevin Conroy.
Yeah.
That's the only thing, if anything,
That's
that
it.
I think was sad, is that they just didn't have much for special features. But no, I mean, if you already have the Blu-ray, that's the thing, is it's the Blu-ray was already pretty good, and I think it came from the same 4K scan. But if this, of course, has a new grading for DNR or HDR and all that shit, yeah. So there's a difference, but
there's a difference.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect us to get the series in 4K, unfortunately. But
I wouldn't expect that. So I will be honest with you. When I was watching it, I was like, it does suffer a little bit from this. Not to bring this up again, but it does suffer a little bit from the whole Scream thing, where like when it's revealed who the Phantasm is.
But this is a few years before Scream, so
but no, I mean, because you think it's a man the whole movie, and then when
it's loosely based on one of the comics. I'm trying to, I think it's, I can't remember if it's Long Halloween or one of the other ones, but
something like that. But they're like when she tears it off, and then it's like she's got curves, and the whole time there was no curves. But it's a great movie. She's actually a great antagonist, and I think isn't it Dana Delaney who does her voice?
Yes,
she's also the voice of Lois Lane in the Superman series.
Yeah.
So great voice cast in it. It's a really great voice cast. That besides Kevin Conroy, they got some great voice actors. And the Joker's great in this movie. I love him. He's pretty creepy in this. And I was watching, I was wondering, like, how did they get away with a PG rating on this movie? Because there's straight up murder in this. Even though it doesn't actually show the murder, there's murder in this movie.
I'm surprised too at the time, but
so like the Joker straight up kills that old mob boss, like with the big old grin, and blows him up, and she's just like dropping dudes left and right. So I was like, PG. I can't believe it at the time.
Then again, Ninja Turtles came out like 2-3 years before that, and that was only PG as well.
That's true. So. And then they bitched about it, and then we lost a lot of.
Pretty sad when movies were more mature. PG in the 90s,
right?
Than PG-13 films are now, but
Vic Fontaine I don't think that's a bad price. I mean, granted, there's no Blu-ray or no big special features, but I don't think that's a bad price because the movie looks incredible.
Yeah,
it really does on 4K. So it looks incredible. I was surprised because I was like, I popped it in and I was like, holy shit, especially the opening. And then like there's just certain scenes where it's a little soft where they where you can tell blow it up, but it doesn't really distract from the movie. So it's a great movie. It's a great Batman flick, and I'm a Superman guy, and this is one of my favorite Batman movies next to the Tim Burton ones. So yeah. But there you go. That was my final pick of the night. Hope you guys like some full moon movies because they'll be coming throughout the next couple of weeks. But I'm also getting a bunch of other new stuff that I'll have that to offset it.
Well, surprisingly,
but yeah, guys,
this might be an early show. Mainly because we don't have Rook, and also a couple of these movies I've already had, but now I have the 4K upgrade because, as you guys remember, it wasn't that long ago that I brought on this beast.
Warriors come
which
out
was
to
the imprint 2-disc version of the Warriors that had the theatrical and director's cut and a bevy of special features. Arrow, of course, and again, their limited edition version of the Warriors. I had to go. That green cover looked horrid. I'm sorry, guys, that I wound up with that thing. When I think of the Warriors, this is what I think of right here.
Yeah, that's the cover.
And they went an extra step. Arrow did. You get a slip cover on the cover.
Nice.
So yeah,
nice.
so your shit's not falling out for once. That is a good thought. So hopefully this is something they continue to do going forward. I like that. Normally I'm not one who likes to have to go through 20 different things, but this is practical. Why? Because if you grab this the wrong way, I mean, this one's nice and tight, but like the Tremors one is always falling out on me, for instance.
Slip out. Yeah,
they slip right out of there. So this is nice to be able to contain them inside. And of course you get the typical fare with Arrow. You get the 2-disc 4K edition of the film. I flipped it around to that since I already had the other art on the other one. And then you get this great book and of course a reversible poster on the inside. Now, I don't know what's different between the limited and the other editions. I think as far as what's inside is all the same, except for maybe unless the posters are representative and the slip art might be representative of the version you get in stores or not.
Yeah. Is this like the what has all the multiple cuts of it or whatever?
Yes. So this has the second disc. All it is the special edition. And it's kind of weird because when they made that edition, all the interstitial shit that I almost call him Arthur Hill when it's Walter Hill, that Walter Hill did were just animated things on the computer in 1080p. So they just take those scenes and cut them into the regular movie. So they're not 4K to begin with. I think they even say because that's one thing I love about Arrows. If you go to the back of their book, or if they have a little slip inside, they'll tell you the entire process of how it was remastered.
Mm-hmm.
So in that, it says like they just took those 1080p shots and brought them into that version. So that's really all it is. I mean, so it's like if you want to watch it, you have the 4K scenes with the stuff mixed in between. So yeah, it is what it is. But otherwise, I think the only difference is that one I think has the original commentary from Walter Hill. Sure, and I've already got some black crud on the side here. Fortunately, I don't know if I can get that off or not. Maybe I can. Anyway, so yeah, but one thing that I will say is, I was a little upset when I ordered this because it wasn't like a week or two after I finally got this in the mail. They announced the Arrow one, or we found out the Arrow one's coming. There is stuff on here that is not on this one as far as special features. So keep that in mind. So if you did import this already, you're not getting screwed over in a way because there's a whole bunch of like interviews and stuff that are not on the other editions. So yeah.
Yeah. Deleted Saint said he's
that is another thing. The TV cut should be on there, but they do have the scenes from the TV cut, so you're at least covered there. It would be nice to have the TV cut because it is a little bit slightly altered version because it has a completely different beginning and stuff. But the other big thing that's a bonus on here is they give this thing a new Dolby Atmos soundtrack.
Nice.
And does it fucking thump and rock. It takes the old soundtracks and just blows them out of the water. Now the director's edition, or whatever you want to call it, that only has the 5.1 mix, so keep that in mind too. But I think most people they're going to want the theatrical cut. This is one of those things that people have never really liked what Walter did to the movie. And he kind of knows that, I think, because he kind of acknowledges that in one of the new interviews. So there are some new interviews that are not on this older one here and vice versa. So keep that in mind if you do have both. But otherwise, I think most people are going to be more than happy with what they get here. The only thing with Arrow I will say is, look, guys, I don't care about these round tables with people who have nothing to do with the movie.
Yeah.
If anybody from Arrow's listening, like seriously, they're a waste of fucking space. I'd almost rather see you go out and commission a couple of interviews from like YouTubers and stuff like that. And I'm not just saying that because we've done them in the past or Greg's done them in the past, but I'm just saying I'd rather see you do that, like with Walter Hill or some of the actors or something like that, or like if they because I don't
yeah.
care. I don't give a shit.
It's like, here's a journalist from Washington State talking about the Warriors. He's like, I don't care. Why do I care what a journalist from Washington State journalist? Give me stuff.
And these are a bunch of journalists. Yeah, these are a bunch of authors and stuff like that. And it's like, okay, they're quasi, but I don't give a shit unless they're like Quentin Tarantino and Robert Rodriguez. You get like those guys together to talk about the Warriors. That'd be a different conversation.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry, and I'm not trying to diminish, these people that are on these things, but frankly, I don't care.
And they're boring to listen to, really, because
9 times out of 10, yes. And there's been some where they just sit there and go on and on about the woke of this and woke that stuff. Like,
yeah.
I didn't even bother watching these, so yeah.
Yeah, I don't. Yes, Tyrell, you can watch the theatrical in 4K because he was.
Yeah, that's the one that's completely in 4K. That's the one that has the new Dolby Atmos mix, and it sounds amazing. Oh my gosh, it is. And that's what I like when they do a good job on these remixes and stuff like that. Like as opposed to the Tremors one. Like honestly, I didn't really even see the necessity for it. I mean, yeah, it kind of spreads it out a little bit more, I guess. But what they did is, it says in the book, they took the matrix from the 2-channel matrix, and they made 2 separate rear channels out of that. So what it is for those who don't know, real quick, I'll try to explain this. For Dolby Pro Logic sound, which was the basis for Dolby surround sound, or whenever you see Dolby SR at the end of a movie, until they came up with multi-channel sound, that was how they did stereo sound. And some bigger formats had multi-channel sound at that time. It just, for a 35 millimeter, it was not doable. So they would have 2-channel sound with a matrix mixed in to where it would separate. The center channel would be anything that was recorded in mono. Okay, so that was generally the voices and whatever music that would, and sound effects that would spread out to there. And then if it had a stereo signal, it would spread out to the left or right channels, right? So if you had a car, it would drive by from the left to the right. But what they realized was, if you in the out of phase portion of the audio, they could actually send that to separate speakers. So they would hide a rear track in that matrix, in that out of phase sound, so you don't hear it through the main 2 channels, right? But what you do hear is in the off phase, you hear it in the background. So what that would do is create this faux surround sound. So they could hide sounds back there that would kind of create this surrounding kind of sound. So like when a plane would come over, they would know how to mix it to where it would sound like it's coming from the front to the back or whatever have you, or back to the front or whatever, to kind of emulate multi-channel surround sound. So what they did is they took that matrix and they split it off into 2 separate channels for the rear. And to me, like I said, it just sounds like everything's kind of spread out and it doesn't have as stumpy a bass as the 2-channel surround sound. And I kept flipping back and forth. And yeah, the 2-channel track is a little front heavy, but at the same time, it was already made for surround sound. So I mean, I really don't. And I've come to really appreciate some of the older sound mixes again, unlike I used to. And I know I brought this up before, but yeah, I don't know. For some reason, some of the newer sound mixes, they do some things to them that doesn't make them sound as natural as they used to, or at least out of time.
It's kind of like what your ears aren't used to it or whatever, because you're used to.
Well, they clean up too much of the audio sometimes in little things.
Like when Never Scrub the Image.
Kind of, it is similar. Because okay, like there's some atmospheric sounds that are sometimes missed. It feels like, or not quite translated the same way between the 2.0 matrix and the if they mix it up for 5.1, right? To where
kind of gets lost in translation.
Yeah, I don't understand. Like, there's like room ambience, or like like if they're outside, sometimes it doesn't sound as open as it does in the surround mix, as it in the newer 5.1 mixes. And plus, you can tell they're also doing a lot of audio scrubbing, for lack of a better term, with like the hiss and stuff. And what I think they're doing sometimes with that is pulling out some of that ambience, right? Because I'll notice that sometimes, especially more recently, where I'll flip back and forth between the different tracks, and sometimes I'll just end up watching it with the original 2.0 stereo track anymore.
It's much like it sounds like film, like the film looks.
It sounds like
film.
it, yeah, and not just that. It just gives me a better experience, where it doesn't feel as sterile and out of place in some spots. And there's been some where I've hated how they've remixed them.
Right.
The one that I go to the most is always Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey.
Mhm.
There is shit in that soundtrack that I don't know who the fuck did that remix, but they should have been fired way back then. Because you have like more than one scene where you have Bill and Ted on the left and right of the screen, and you hear Bill and Ted coming out of the left and right channel of the sound. Well, for the 5.1 mix, they just mixed them down to the center channel.
Mm.
So like you have that scene where they're proposing to the babes, and you know they're doing their versions, and they first are syncing up, and then they separate.
Yeah,
it sounds cool because you got one coming out of the left channel, one coming out of the right channel in the stereo mix.
Kind of like sounds like how they're supposed to be. Like
yeah, but then in the 5.1, it's all mixed into one, so they're kind of talking over each other too much, right? So you could actually turn around if you wanted to and flip out each channel and hear what the other one's saying, because they separate, they go different places. Because one goes desert, the other one goes water or whatever, or sea. Remember, they have their little like, oh no, that's fresh water.
Yeah.
And then Bill says, oh no, that's desert, or
yeah.
There's forests and deserts or whatever. Yeah. So they have that, and it's in both channels, like coming out of them, and it's like that effect is lost. And there's a few times in the movie throughout where they do that, and it's completely lost in the remix. And I'm just like, why would you destroy that like that? Like you're taking some liberties there, motherfucker. And then you have the other ones where they just emulate the 2.0 mix so closely that you're like, this is really fucking pointless. Like I flip back and forth, and it's like you cannot tell a difference. And it's like, see, there's some where, okay, here's one that drives me nuts actually about some older mixes. When they used to do these old 3.0 or 4.0 mixes for these big 70 millimeter releases back in the day, when they used to have a bunch of speakers in front of the screen, or for Cinerama or something like that. Because even then they would still only have like 2-channel or 1-channel surround, and they'd have a bunch of upfront channels. So they still have the 2.0 mix or whatever, but then they'll make a 5.1 mix that sounds just like the 2.0 mix. It's like, why didn't you give us that multi-track mix that we know exists, or emulate it more like it should sound in that other mix, or give it a new life? Because sometimes you'll have voices that will like fade from left to right channels really weirdly, because until they were really kind of understanding how stereo worked, like you would have, like, I think a lot of times they would just literally set up stereo mics, and so when people would drift from parts of the stage, their voice will drift in the soundtrack, and it becomes very disorienting sometimes. So in those cases, that's where I'd actually want you to take the voice and center it. Unless there's a reason not to, because just because they're hanging off to the left of the screen, it's like they're all coming out of my left fucking channel now, and that's it. It's like, and I've noticed this with a lot of older stereo sound mixes. It's kind of weird like that. But yeah, anyway, with all the new technology they have now, they can do better mixes, and I'm glad to see that either they're utilizing that technology, or in the case of like the Warriors, they clearly had the original soundtrack to work from and create this new sound mix, and it's a huge improvement compared to the Tremors one, where I just thought it was kind of a waste of space.
Yeah, with okay, that makes sense. But I'm glad to know that the Warriors looks good. I do like the white original subcover there that they got on that. So yeah, I don't know what the deal with it. Like, what it's like, it's weird because everybody was like using red for red steelbooks. Now they're using green covers for everything. It's like that. So I was wondering, that's kind of weird.
I don't know what they're doing. Like Arrow they're one of the greatest companies out there, but sometimes with their packaging, and it's not so much the packaging itself, just the art I question, because otherwise their packaging, they probably have some of the best packaging of everybody. The only times I don't like their packaging is like the Bruce Lee set I showed.
Oh yeah,
where it's those little slip cases. I hate those, but those are at least better than being shoved into a sleeve.
True. Which is funny because I plan on getting probably the new Hellraiser set, because
I wish I would have waited. I kind of like the look of that, and
I'm not so sure about the color scheme, but I do like that they each come in their thing.
Yeah,
like they're even doing a Psycho set too, a new Psycho set, but you don't get the first one in it. You just get 2, 3, and 4.
That one kind of bothers me too, because I ended up accidentally buying 2 of those, if you remember right.
yeah, I remember.
I gifted one to somebody, but actually I gave it to Gary of Nerdrotic. But yeah.
I don't mind that case. I do like that.
I was almost going to tell him, like, you might want to sell that because it's worth a little bit now, but now it's probably not worth shit. So,
because they're releasing 2, 3, and 4 on Blu-ray or 4K.
Well, and that's just because Universal already released the original one, and that one. It's the same goddamn.
It's the same thing. Yeah. But hey, I agree with you. Arrow and Kino have really stepped up a lot more than any company.
Shout's fallen off a little bit in my favor.
Shout
actually
has fallen off a little bit, and I mean, I don't get me wrong, I love Scream Factory, Shout Factory, they do good stuff, but they really they don't care much anymore. It seems like, you know what I mean? It's like at least Arrow and Kino seem to care a little more.
Well, and I did talk to somebody at Kino, and hopefully they actually were doing what I said, because this would be like the second or third time, and I told them about the Amazon problem.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully they look into it. Because I explained to them, because he's like, well, they should be sending them out as soon as they get their shipment. Well, I'm like, well, either they're not getting their shipment on time, or something's up, or they're not ordering them until like whatever. Because even people who pre-order them, they'll turn around and they won't get them for 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah.
In fact, I said, I told the guy on the phone, I'm like, I got a screenshot of one of the ones I just reordered, because I had a different problem that I was dealing with. But so they just reordered again this morning, that Amazon says is not going to be able to get to me for like 2-3 weeks. But you guys I already got the email before I talked to the gentleman saying that was getting ready to ship out. So why is it you guys have plenty of copies, no problem, but yet Amazon's having issues? And then and then I brought up the whole thing with Gower and
Monster Squad.
But he did say they did not expect the demand for that one. That one they ended up having to get some new prints, and I'm like, yeah, that one I understood, because I said I know people like, I said we even talked to Andrew Gower last week, and he said he couldn't even get them. And I'm like, and he's in the fucking movie, and you're talking, the documentary is even there.
Yeah,
and they're like, well, we're looking into that. He goes, in fact, we just shipped out a bunch of them last week. I'm like, yeah, I know. I said a bunch of people I know got them finally, but I explained to him your position, Greg, on that. I'm like, that's one thing I know you guys ran out, but he also pre-ordered it from 2 separate places. But I pre-ordered it from you guys, and I got it early.
Which I should have did.
Yeah, and I said, but everybody else wasn't getting it for 2-3 weeks. And I said, it sucked for our show when we were talking to Andrew to promote the disc you guys just brought out.
Yeah.
And
just one guy had it.
Members of the show had it, but me.
Not even a guy in the movie. Like
not even a guy in the fucking movie. He's like, he's in the fucking club.
Yeah.
I'm in the goddamn club, aren't I?
Yeah. I wish I would have got him saying that on camera when he told us that. But yeah, I canceled my Amazon one. It wasn't going to come. So I just.
But I told him, like, it's not just that movie. I said it's every single fucking one.
Yeah.
And I did let him know a few other things I wasn't too happy about. I'm like well, the only reason I order through Amazon, I told him, is that instead of you guys more often, I said I try to when I can, but it's because of the shipping factor. And I of course have Amazon Prime, so I did bring that up. So maybe they work on that a little bit. I don't know, but hopefully they take my suggestions and they take them to the right place and work on that a little bit, because I know a lot of people have been having issues with that. Even our own Mike Joseph, who's always dealing with that.
Always. That's why go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say what I figured out, and I told you, and I don't think I've said on the show yet, but just to let you guys know, your best bet is to pre-order a bunch of stuff, but keep in mind, through Kino directly, I mean, but keep in mind that they're not going to ship it out until whatever the last thing is that you ordered is released. But if you have a situation like with me, I ordered Monster Squad with a couple other movies that had already come out. So as soon as Monster Squad was ready to go, they shipped it. And I got it the Saturday before the street date. So, I mean, and it takes a while for Kino to get to me. So they must be a little ways away.
Yeah.
Because I got my other shipments just the next couple days ago. Like I got Face Off and a few other ones here recently. That was one of the ones
that's one that I've been waiting on as well too. Face Off, because you can't get it right away either.
I got mine. I just didn't get a chance to watch it yet. So
yeah. But
and I got the Clive Barker one they put out and a few other ones. A bunch from sale. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you told him that, because I was like, you know what? I know I'm getting the one I ordered, and it was going to be the next day after the stream, so I just canceled the Amazon one because it was pointless. I wasn't waiting, so.
Otherwise, I think Diabolic or Diabolique.
Diabolic. Yeah, I'm not sure.
They're probably one of the better ones as far as once they get the shit, they get it out, and they're at least let you know when they're out. They don't have it anymore and stuff like that.
So I say, them or Orbit DVD, which you should also check out. That I like to have them as an Orbit DVD as a backup, because
and another one I've used is what the hell are they called? They got a shark for their logo. Deep Discount.
Deep Discount.
They're pretty good too. Yeah. Because that was the only place I could get Breakin' for some reason for a while until Amazon got it, and then they sold out of them right away. And then the second one is the one they sold out of. But I couldn't get the first one for the longest time through Amazon, so I pre-ordered it through Diabolique or whatever.
Yeah.
And then I ordered the second one through Amazon, but I ended up getting the first one before Amazon got me the second one, if I remember right, which was kind of surprising. But
Breakin' 2.
They're another good one that Breakin' and Breakin' 2 got re-released.
I wish I would have brought that. I don't have it over here. The Canon guy, Austin, sent me an original copy. Well, it's not an original copy. It's a copy of the Christmas card that the I don't know why I'm saying the Sulkins, that the Golden Globus and them sent out at Christmas.
Oh,
he sent me a Christmas card. It's like one of the original 1980s a copy of it, not the actual card, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I wish I would have had it over here. It's over there, so over on the other side of the room. But it was pretty cool.
So that's what I got this week.
Yeah, I got a bunch of stuff for Christmas that I plan on watching and bringing on, and there I got some Amazon cards too that I got for Christmas. So I'll have a lot of other stuff other than Full Moon, but there's a few Full Moon movies that they sent me that like Pre-Hysteria, which I haven't seen in years, which I'll probably get to, and Puppet Master 3, which I'll probably get to. So yeah. But yeah, I'm glad you got to somebody on Kino, and hopefully they take into consideration some of
I
that
hope
stuff.
so.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we're gonna have to make a nasty video.
Yeah. But yeah, as far as I'm concerned, though, like if since we're going into the new year, if you want to know the two of the top boutique Blu-ray labels, it's got to be Kino and it's got to be Arrow. And I would even throw Vinegar Syndrome in there, number 3, maybe.
Yeah, Vinegar fell off a little bit this year, but last year they were hot as could be.
Yeah.
But this year they just didn't have as cool of releases. Like, I mean, it's going to be tough to top that Texas Chainsaw release, though.
Yeah.
Or did that come out earlier this year, or was that last year?
Was that might have been in January of this year?
I'm trying to remember.
I think that was delayed a little bit and came in January.
Trying to remember now.
But I do want to get the Prophecy.
Oh, of course, their website shut down because they're about to do their.
Yeah, they're doing their big old
Monday, January 1st. Yeah.
Yeah, subscriber month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I can't get to nothing. Let me see.
But yeah, if you want to go into that, we'd have to probably go Arrow and Kino, Vinegar Syndrome. See, I'm trying to think of the other ones. Probably Shout and Scream would be 4, if not lower, because they were not.
No, it came out in November.
Came out in November.
Last year. Yeah,
last year. Okay.
Last year. Okay. So yeah, this year I definitely would give the edge to Arrow this year. I mean, they had some pretty impressive between the Bruce Lee, Hellraiser, Psycho, getting the Warriors out.
Mm-hmm.
God, I mean, and I know there's probably a handful more I'm forgetting. Arrow has just been really kicking ass this year. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, not to the Kino too. I mean, they've got Kino, a lot of good titles this year.
They've released a lot of good shit too, and not just like the big titles that like we talk about like that, like those. They released a lot of like westerns and 50 sci-fi and horror movies that was like a lot of people probably don't even know about because they just like, we're going to release this, and then boom, they release a ton of them, and it's great. They have a great variety. I would say they have the best variety of.
Honestly, I would almost put Criterion ahead of Shout this year if it wasn't for a few titles that Shout did. Because Criterion had some good ones, but I think some of those might have been from last year too.
I mean, to be honest with you, I did like the Night of the Demon sets from Shout, but then again, that could have been put together a lot better than they did release.
Yeah.
I did enjoy them.
And I know some people were upset that the second and third one were not 4K.
Right.
I mean, JFK set was really good this year out of Shout. I'll give them shout out for that. There's a couple things they had that were all right.
I mean, you got the Chuckies, so that wasn't too
bad. But it was the second half. We got the first half last year, so
yeah, that's true. That's
the better half.
You're not wrong. Yeah, you're not wrong on that. I was trying to think of some of the Shout and looking at my.
I know. I'm trying to be nice to them, but they really kind of irked me the wrong way this year in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
they've had some decent releases, but some of those releases have been some quick double dips. Two
Mm-hmm.
of movies they just released that like 90% of the movies they released this year that I got on 4K, I hadn't even opened up the Blu-ray yet.
Right, because they have been double dipping a lot lately. I'm wondering if maybe like with the surgeons, because we talk about physical media, everybody keeps saying physical media dead, but it's not. It's gone back to the blue teaks online and collectors and all that. And I'm wondering if maybe the competition with Shout with like Kino and Arrow and them have like sort of stolen titles away from them. So like with the licenses they have to double dip now or something. I don't. It seems like they don't really care.
Yeah, well, I've heard, and I don't know if I want to get into it too much. I mean, I've heard a few things about Shout behind the scenes.
Well, I do know like the people that found it, the Scream Factory section of it quit. So
that's one of the problems there. Yeah. A large portion of the people that were very important to that place left, and their customer service has turned to shit. To the point where they will, and this is the truth, I've given them bad reviews and they will come after you like a fucking petty motherfucker on a bad review. Like, don't do that. Leave it alone.
Yeah.
If you want to reach out to me privately and discuss shit with me, cool. But that is the dumbest thing in the world because you make yourself look so fucking pathetic. And if you want an example, go watch that Kitchen Nightmares episode, the famous one with the New York couple that were just so oblivious that it's one of the few, and it's easier to find because it's one of the few episodes.
Yeah, I know which one you're talking about.
Left because he just could not deal with them. And then afterwards, they did not do well. In fact, there's more follow-up videos, I think, about him than anything. It was some bakery. I can't remember the chick's name, but
yeah, I know.
The dude got extradited for some fucking killing somebody and shit too. Her husband.
It's crazy.
I think. Yeah, it's crazy. And there's a great example of why you should not go after your detractors on reviews because it just makes you look petty and bad. Yeah. And one of the things that I griped about is something that one of their competition is really good at, and that is consolidating orders. Both Vinegar Syndrome and Kino Lorber, if you talk to him, I don't know if you can do it right on the website, but like generally it's not too hard. Vinegar Syndrome, especially to
combine them all together.
Combine your orders, yeah.
Later. Yeah. Like I said, I mean,
because that's what pisses me off about Shout too, because when they drop their announcements and stuff, they'll drop a few things on their website and then they'll stagger it and then a few other things will drop. It's like, well, I could have got free shipping if you guys would have had that fucking shit on there in the first place.
Yeah.
When I ordered this other shit. And I get afraid if I don't order certain things, they're going to sell out right away.
The Shout excels at that. Like they'll like, you better get this. It might be gone OPP quick. And then the Corman, which I do love the Roger Corman Blu-rays that they give out the double because I love the stripper Roger Corman movies and stuff.
They can say those are going to go out
of respect. They don't give
those
them
motherfuckers own those too. That's what's sad.
Yeah,
because the family was all pissed that Roger sold the rights to all those.
I know they sold them all to them, and like they own them. They print them out. Oh, we'll print out 1,500 Roger Corman. Does not really do nothing to them. But then like somebody like me who is a Roger Corman fan who loves those type of movies, I'm like, fuck, if I don't buy it's gone. But then it's Shout, so they might double dip me. What do I do? So that's what aggravates me about Shout. Yeah,
Amy's Baking Company. That's the one. Yeah. Yep.
And then he did want to know about the Waterworld, which he did bring on, I believe. The Arrow.
I have it. I ordered it. As far as I know, the only difference between that version, the previous Arrow version, and the Universal 4K is that the 4K, and I think somebody brought it up in the chat already. Victor did, yeah. The 4K version has DTS:X on Universal's version, which is basically the equivalent to Dolby Atmos for DTS. And the Arrow version has the Dolby Atmos mix. But other than that, as far as I know, it's the exact same release as the other version that Arrow put out a couple of years prior to that. So if you have that version and the 4K release in the US, or from the Universal one, I mean, it's pretty much the same. I have not been able to compare them. I believe also the Arrow version might have, actually they both might have Dolby Vision. I'd have to look. I did get it though, because I got it on sale. I happened to get it on like a 50% off sale So I was like, fuck it. And I needed something to add to my cart for shipping and handling. Yeah. So I was like, I don't really need it, but maybe I'll do a review of it someday. So yeah. So if you don't already have the Arrow release and you have the Universal one, there's a buttload of special features and stuff that are not on the Universal release. And their version of the extended cut on the Universal release, if I remember right, has a shit ton of DNR on it compared to the Arrow one. But they're still only on Blu-ray. The only version that's in 4K is the theatrical cut. Keep that in mind.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, I guess that's it for a short show tonight, Butch. We did manage to stretch it out to 2 hours. So
yeah,
we did manage to stretch it out. And Tom managed to get a lot watched this week, and I'm sure we had more watched, especially with it being Christmas. But some of those we already brought.
Yeah,
on.
Like I said, we already brought them on. And I didn't get all the way through the Rankin and Bass box set either. I got through most of it. But,
I know,
or quite a bit of it. But
I was wanting to get that. And it's $60, but I think it's really worth it. I really think
it kind of is, because you get 18 specials, and it's Warner Brothers and Universal that had to come together to do this.
Yeah, and some of them have never been on Blu-ray before ever.
Some of them have never been on Blu-ray before. In fact, that was part of the reason I got it, was for one specific special.
Yeah.
And then I discovered one or two that I didn't even know existed in the process of it, but. Yeah, so there's 18 total specials. 3 or 4 of them have been released several times over. Obviously, the basics: the Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, Frosty the Snowman, Santa Claus Coming to Town.
Yeah.
Cricket on the Hearth. I was kind of surprised it didn't get one this year, but that one looks like it's from a 4K master. So I wouldn't be surprised if that gets a 4K release at some point here. I was kind of surprised it didn't just get released with the other 4, because it does. Those 4 look like they're obviously from the 4K masters.
Yeah.
But then the rest of them vary in quality. Keep that in mind.
Okay.
So like they're all HD, but some look a little bit rougher than others. Like they're clearly older scans, because there's a few of these that have been released before on at least DVD. So I think they're just the original HD scan just transferred up to Blu-ray instead of DVD. But you got like Nestor, and you get the Little Drummer Boy, and I didn't even know there was a sequel to Little Drummer Boy.
Yeah, I didn't know there was a sequel. I was like, how do you sequel the Little Drummer
Book
Boy?
2, I guess that's what it said. Yeah, I guess. But and then you got the Frosty and Rudolph New Year's, but there was also the sequel to Frosty that I didn't know about, and I'm not talking about Frosty Returns, which is not on this set. Keep that in mind, because that was not produced by Rankin and Bass. It has the other sequel on it where he gets married, and they use Winter Wonderland as the bass song. And that was actually pretty good. I'd never seen it before. And if I have, I forgot.
Right.
Because it was one of the 70s ones. But yeah, the reason I got it was for Twas the Night Before Christmas. And that one looks pretty good. A couple of the other ones I scanned through real quick did not look the greatest, but I mean, they look as good as they're going to look, probably. I don't know what they have for negatives and whatnot. So, and Rudolph and Frosty and Santa Claus Coming Down and are pretty much the only 3 that have ever gotten any major love. So,
yeah, pretty much. But thank you, Tom. Thank you, Rook. I hope you're feeling better for hanging with us tonight. To everybody out in the chat, thank you guys for hanging with us tonight. Hope you have a good one. Steven shows up right at the end. Hey, Steven. We're closing it down for the night, though. But thank you all, everybody out there that's watching and supporting and everything. I appreciate you guys. As always, you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here.
How you doing? Bitches leave.
And Happy New Year.